Hello, everyone. I hope you all have been doing excellent. This is Danette here, bringing you a quick update on the St. Regis residences in Miami. So, something interesting has been happening with St. Regis. Obviously, since it began construction last October, it is now pouring the concrete on the seventh floor, which is basically most of the amenities have already been, the shell is already there. They're starting on the first residential floor now, which is the seventh or eighth floor. The pace is going to quicken now, and you're going to see more of that beautiful tower rising at 1809 Brickell Avenue. So I truly believe that this is one of the best projects in Miami, top two. I think the only other building in Miami that's superior wouldn't be the correct word, but I think better also would not be the right word. But I don't know, I just like it more, would be the Mandarin Oriental. The new residences at Mandarin Oriental Miami. And that's one of the reasons why I believe this project hasn't sold as well as it should have been. It kind of stalled once it got to the 50% mark. But since the last 2, 3 months, it's done over $150 million in sales, recent sales. This has been, in the past couple of months. So, and the reason being is obviously it's on the water. It's in the best private part of Brickell. Once you pass the church on the South Brickell area, which is extremely residential, one of the areas where the first buildings in Brickell, the first high rises, residential high rises, were built. And it's really the most quiet and pedestrian friendly area in Brickell, away from all the craziness. It's on the water. It's got 137,000 square feet of land, 3.1 acres, which is excellent. It runs all the way from Brickell Avenue all the way to Biscayne Bay. Now, again, one of the reasons why this project, I believe, has not done as well as it should have been in terms of sales, or it should have done, I'm sorry, in terms of sales, is because it has been overshadowed by the Mandarin. But I think people are starting to catch on and realize how once as they see the building rise up, that this building is a end of 27, early 28 building in terms of delivery date. Mandarin is more of a 2030 building. So people are starting to realize, hey, this is a comparable building, comparable size lot, comparable privacy. You get in and out of Brickell easier because you're on Brickell Ave at the end, right before the Key Biscayne Bridge. So there's easier access to the highways. So in terms of accessibility in and out, this is a little bit better than being in Brickell Key. The pricing is very similar. So the same types of buyers that look at the Mandarin, look at the St. Regis. Also, in my opinion, the Mandarin is a better brand, but that's subjective. Some people like the St. Regis more. Some people like the Mandarin more. My opinion is that the best hospitality brand in the world is a Four Seasons, and I think the Mandarin is close behind. San Regis is in there, but I think that I don't know. It's subjective. Obviously the San Regis is an excellent brand. I have a buyer who purchased in the San Regis, and they have a very close relationship with the San Regis brand. And they have told me that they have spoken with the people over at St. Regis, and they believe that what is happening there at the St. Regis residences in Miami is going to be outstanding, and people are going to be very happy. And that's actually one of the reasons why he ended up buying. So I'm very confident in the product because of the brand that is involved, because of the size of the lot. The building is very small in terms of footprint, and in terms of units, it's 154 units. And actually, because there have been so many combinations in the building, it's going to be actually much less than 154. I estimate that the total unit count, because of so many floor plan combinations, is going to be around 130, 134. So anyways, quick update: the building is now pouring the seventh floor. As I mentioned before, it now has reached the 78% sold out mark with contract, with deposits. So it's right around the 80%, which is great. They only have about 32, 33 units left to sell. As I said, because it's a really low unit count. It's a very exciting moment for the project. That's why I believe we have seen that acceleration in the sales pace of the units as people see that building rise up out of the ground. The brand is great. The price point is elevated, as are the top echelon projects in Miami. Waldorf, Mandarin, St. Regis, Four Seasons. This is basically the top of the pyramid. So you can expect 2,000 plus a square foot. I'm sorry, when it comes to the pricing here. So it's an exciting milestone for the project. I think that the sales between now and the end of next year are going to be fast pace. I think they should be able to sell out the project within the next 10 to 12 months. It is my opinion, maybe with the penthouses remaining, things like that. But yeah, I think this is going to be a very good next 12 to 10 months for the project. And I'm very happy for them because, like I said, they have, kind of lagged behind in sales. And that's because the Mandarin was launched, and that was a killer in the Miami market. I mean, that was 228 units on the last developer, owned lot in Brickell Key. The Mandarin brand, 5.2 acres of, I mean, this is unheard of. So I think obviously now the Mandarin being, close to 70% sold, I think that we're going to see a lot more activity at the St. Regis. So this is why I wanted to send you the update. I think it's a great moment to get in the project. As the project is rising, we are reaching that 80% sold out mark, we're basically looking at 2 years to get delivery of this product. So yeah, and what else? So yeah, remaining inventory, the 30 something units that are left there start at 6 million. There's very few typical floor plans left. There's 4 units per floor, and then there have been a lot of combinations, as I mentioned. So out of the typical floor plans, there's only about 10 of those left, and then the rest is going to be combination units and or penthouse type units. So starting at 6 million for the 2+10 3.5 bath 2,600 square foot unit, which is the D line. Then it jumps to 9 million, 9.7, 9.8 million for the C line, which is a very high. There's only one left, one or two left, which is an atypical C line, which is almost 4,000 square feet on a very high floor. So that's going to be 9.7. And then for the A line and the B line, which are the 4-bedroom facing the bay directly, those are going to be upwards of $10 million. And then obviously the combination units are going to be more expensive than that. But yeah, there you have it. This is a fantastic project. I really wanted to make this update because I wish I would have sold more in this project, honestly, because it is such a great project. A lot of people are worried nowadays about the oversupply of, the units in Miami. But one thing that you have to understand is that most of these units, these pre-construction units that are going to be coming online within the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, most of these are short-term, small, Airbnb-like friendly buildings. These are the bulk of the projects being delivered in Brickell and in downtown, especially in downtown. There's less of them being delivered in Brickell. These upper echelon, top of the pyramid, superb finished branded product on the water, there's only 2 or 3 of them in the core. And between the Four Seasons, which is not in the core, it's Coconut Grove, there's about 60 something 70 units there. Then you have the St. Regis around 130, 140 total units. It'll end up being, let's say you have 222 something there. Then you have the Mandarin, which has 220 in the first tower, and then about 40, 50 in the second tower. We're talking about, let's say, between those 3 projects together with the Waldorf Astoria, which is, 300 units, we're talking about less than 1,000 units between those 4 upper echelon projects. So, 1,000 units in the core of Miami in this type of product is very easy to absorb once if that ever comes online, because most of these buyers who are buying these very large units are not resale buyers. They're people who are coming to Miami to live here. So a lot of the people who are worried about the oversupply in Miami of new construction are not looking at what's being built and who the developers are and the category of units that are being built. So if you're looking at purchasing any of these branded large units, you don't necessarily have to worry about that oversupply. I don't think that's even, it's not even a question. And so yeah, anyways, this is a superb product. Feel free to reach out to me if you want more information, if you want the up-to-date inventory at the St. Regis or the Waldorf or the Mandarin or the Four Seasons. And I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much.